Ceri Jones.
It's good to be back in Wales and to catch up with you again, Alan.
Yeah, likewise. I'm surprised, I thought you'd...
I'm only here for a couple of days and I thought I'd make the most of it, and we haven't done a podcast together for probably, I think, near 18 months to 2 years, even though we did one in Clywedog. And a lot has happened. I can see you're a busy man, so I thought I want to catch up to see what you're doing. To start with, last weekend, you were at the show.
Yeah, British Fly Fair. So...
was it good?
Excellent. To be honest, so I was there. One of the things that's happened is I've become chairman of the Game Angling Instructors Association, as well as the chair of assessors. So I was there with a team of the guys from GAIA, offering fly casting demonstrations, fly casting tuition, fly dressing, and I did a demo on Saturday and Sunday, kindly invited by Carl Humphreys, who organises the demonstrations on the day. So yeah, Saturday was fantastic. In excess of 6,000 people, I suppose, on the Saturday. On the Sunday, it was much the same up until around about 2 o'clock, and then I think people disappeared for lunch. And slowly but surely, 3:30, it was almost dead. But
You spending your money?
oh, yeah, yeah, I can't say too much in case the wife listens. No, I'm a big fan of Mackenzie Rod, so I had a good chat with Scott.
Oh, was that the one you just showed me downstairs?
Yeah. So
the one you told your wife you went on a raffle?
Don't start though. Yeah. So I had the saltwater rod off him, the 9 foot for an 8, and I had a 14'9" 10 weight salmon rod just for early season fishing.
Yeah, lovely.
Likewise, I managed to get some. I wouldn't call them specialist feathers, but feathers that are getting short in supply now. The likes of golden pheasant crest. I got some northern shoveler, which...
I'm looking actually at these pheasant crests here. Was that you had at the show, or did you order these?
No, I had those at the show.
These are the ones?
Yeah, the problem with golden pheasant crest... So what I've done with those is that I've soaked and washed the actual pheasant crest itself, attached to the head. I've plucked them off, given them another wash, dried them out and shaped them, and then I've graded them, so both in size and quality.
I can see that it's different. They don't come in box. Well, I thought you said you couldn't get them in the head now.
Yeah, well...
These are the ones you previously had.
There was some at the show that only had the crests on, but no tippet collars.
Oh.
So the thing is, at the moment, I'm not 100% sure, but as a result of COVID and bird flu, where these are supplied from, which is the Far East, mainly China, because that's part of its natural range out there, the golden pheasant. As a result of bird flu, China no longer send anything out on a skin. So whereas we used to get golden pheasant full skins, the body, tail, head and tippet, all of those now are only available by feathers, if you understand, not on the skin. Yeah, loose. So I managed to I managed to get some heads minus the tippet collars, and over time what I'll do is I'll pluck those individual fibres or individual feathers, wash them, process them, grade them, and then size them. So at a later date, I can just pull them out and use when I tie a fly that needs a golden pheasant crest.
I noticed one of your drawers I haven't mentioned where we're actually sitting is
Right.
in your fly tying, what do you call it, den room,
Yeah.
which is specifically for your fly tying and videoing, where we'll come on to later. But I'd see there's clear boxes here, and you've got one drawer there actually, full of different colours of pheasant necks, tippets, crest,
Yeah.
and everything. I remember you gave me a couple last
Yeah.
few years ago during lockdown.
Yeah, you were driving past, and
That's right. Yeah.
I just happened to be dyeing some of them. So, but I'll although there is no photo, no, this is a podcast. But you can see now this is the just the head with the crests attached. And what I'll do, you can see they're each an individual feather. So if I take the feather and then pluck it, you can see that one's fairly large. And then if I pluck from further up, you can see that it's somewhat smaller.
Yeah.
So
I'll actually, when we finished it, I'll picture all you doing this so that they can go with it then.
yeah, okay. So
And then you put them in these containers you've got there.
yeah, just separate them, keep them in a pristine condition. They'll go in a drawer. How much sunlight will affect them, but I'm sure if I leave them in the sunlight, then they'll bleach slightly. But I want them to have this lustrous look, because it adds to a fly, and it's been used in many flies for many years.
It's nice being in a room dedicated to fly tying. It's like being in a sweet shop. You've got feathers over in the corner there, you've got drawers everywhere, you've got spools. And I noticed you've got, when most people got a fly tying desk somehow, you've got two in the one room.
Yeah.
What's the story with that then? And they look to me like two law vices. That's definitely a law, isn't it?
Yeah, well, the first law you can see, I had off, it was a bit by luck really. I met Lawrence Waldron at the BFFI actually, which was probably 2005-ish.
20 years.
Yeah. And, he said, oh, look, they're really expensive. Are you sure you tie enough flies? And at the time I was doing plenty of orders, and I said, yes, I did. Well, one of his customers who had ordered a vice decided he didn't want it, so his loss was my gain. And I paid Lawrence, and you can take a look at it. I've had it in excess of 20 years, I'd say. I've tied thousands upon thousands of flies in it. It is as good as new.
And how much would that have been then?
It was about £400 then.
So you told Sharon you won that in a raffle as well.
Yeah. No. But
I wouldn't tell her what it's worth now, because you'd try and get you to sell it.
Oh yeah, definitely. But the style of vice for me, and although I can demonstrate to you here.
It just fits nice in the hand, doesn't it?
Yes, and where the hook is positioned with the drop in the vice arm, I can rest my fingers there to add materials as and when I want, and stabilise and what have you. It's a fantastic vice, does it all, and they're much sought after now. And I know what you're going to say. What about the other one? Well, imitation is probably the most sincerest form of flattery.
Yeah.
And that's why now you see many vices that mimic those same characteristics that the law has. And I had one from Irish Fly Supplies, which it's not a law vice, but Lawrence didn't put any copyright. But what Lawrence had was the quality of materials. I don't think that's of the same quality. However, for what I need it for, I sit there. If someone comes around for fly tie intuition, they can watch what I do and mimic it on that one. But in addition to that, I use it for tying classic salmon flies.
So you've got one bench here, you can see, for trout flies,
Yep.
and that one then for the sea trout salmon.
Well, yeah,
Or
no.
you can use sea trout on
Yeah.
this one.
Yeah. This is my workhorse. This is the one I can use and manipulate, and I'm really familiar with. That one, I put a hook in. I'll probably tie on and tie a tag, do the butt, maybe put ostrich tail on. I'll leave it for a couple of days then, and when I've got time or interest, I'll go back and put.
Yeah.
You know, it might take me a week or 2 weeks just to build the fly up.
If you go and give demonstrations and shows, I guess it's good to take that, not to take your law.
Well, in fact, many times at the British Fly Fair, I left the law attached to the desk before I went off for a bite to eat or to find some materials. On one occasion, I came back with two guys leaning over. One was trying to pull the neck of the vise out of the holder, and I said, "Oh, can I help you guys?" And they went, "Oh, we just wanted to have a look." And I thought, "Yeah, right." So after that, then I'd pull the neck and it out, and I'd stick it in the pocket. So whenever I was wandering around, it was always in my always with me. Since then, I mean, acquiring a new law vice, you're talking £2,000 plus. So I've been looking for the next best thing.
You've got to watch. I mean, I had a lovely claret cape once in the early days. I was going to a club in Pontypridd, the Ospreys, and hackle players over the years. You just, even though, you know, you think other people are like yourself, but they're not, are they? I've had capes go, I've had a lovely hackle players go, but it's just that with something like that, especially like a vice, you can't risk it anyway.
No, and it you know, I can tie with my fingers, or I can utilise my fingers in replacement of tools, but the vice is, for me, it's the where the foundation is laid. So, you know.
Because what I can see, one desk is kitted out, it's got a mic and a camera, and there's a light there kitted out as well. But before we do that, I noticed you just had a delivery as well.
You've got
capes here. Where did that come from?
Well, once again, do you know, I'm going to be divorced shortly. The wife's
you're going to have to move from this room into the bedroom.
I am.
And bring the bedroom in here.
So the thing is, so these three capes, I've got one speckled badger, one vermiculated badger, and one honey badger. So they're all whiting saddle capes, and the one thing that they do with some retailers in the States is they turn around and say to you, this cape will tie size 16 to 18. This cape has mainly size 14 hackles in it, with a few 16s and 18s. So you can buy a cape graded already for its use. And if you look at some of the whiting capes, and you can see this one here now, you know, whiting also sell 100 packs, as they're called, which consists of about 6 or 7 hackles. And people say, "Oh, I thought there was 100 feathers in there." Well, no, you can see from the size of the hackle.
It doesn't tape as all the way down the side.
Yeah, it's consistent. It's a genetic cape. That each feather.
It's clever how they make it like that, isn't it?
Well,
genetics.
Genetics, breeding, and what have you. May not always work, but these, you know, this one hackle, for example, I'll probably tie 12 or 15 flies with the one hackle. Yeah. So you can see from this one cape, there's a lifetime supply there.
Yeah.
You know?
There's very subtle differences in the shades of those you got there.
Yeah.
That was more lighter. That's more barred. That's not barred, but it's sort of darker strands in that.
Yeah, and that's because of the vermiculation or vermiticulation. I can't pronounce it correctly, but it's got a sprinkling on it of black. And
these come from the States?
Yeah, these come from the States.
Direct from Whitings?
No, there is a company in the States called Jim's Fly Company, and he has major stock from Whiting, and I guess if he has first shout on some of the hackles, some of the capes, then that's what I'm, if I need them, that's what I'm going to go and get them. And here you can see the speckles. So it's starting to mimic some of the markings.
For people afraid to order stuff from outside of UK, you can see, with customs and that, how much customs you have to pay, or can you get lucky sometimes and not pay nothing?
So I think it's a bit hit and miss. They don't check every parcel. And on average, anything that comes into the country, I think that's less than £135, they don't even bother. It just comes through. On the odd occasion, when stuff does come in, there's a standard fee of customs charge of about £2.50. Then they add the VAT, because one of the things is that the cost of the materials or product has to be given on the outside. Then they calculate the VAT based on that value, and they charge you £12 as a service charge to bring that in through the customs.
How long would that take? 2 weeks or so, thereabouts?
Yeah. Well, I ordered these before the fly fair because I knew they weren't going to be the quality that I wanted at the fly fair. No disrespect to any of the retailers. But I ordered these from the States on the 3rd of Feb, and they arrived today, which is February the 14th. So, 11, 12 days. I had notification of a customs charge. I paid that, and they've been delivered straight away, look. But you can't get this quality in the UK, because I think at the end of the day, the UK is some way down the line in the quality thing. And I mean, you can look at it, one feather.
So for your tying now, you're going to use those for dries? Yeah. Is it for your own patterns then? Or you still tend to tie some flies for commercially?
Well, this year in particular, because since I saw you last, in the past 18 months, I've taken on the role as chairman of the Game Angling Instructors Association, and I'm also the chairman of assessors, or head of assessors, and I've also taken on the role of head of assessors for the Game Angling Instructors Association. So one of the functions of the head of assessor is that he or she or that individual with a team of people needs to constantly look at the criteria that we deliver as training to potential coaches, and then the assessment criteria that we use to ensure that they have the appropriate knowledge and they know their stuff, basically, before we certify them as coaches. Something which I think, if I'm right, has happened since I spoke to you last regarding GAIA. It's not just casting now, is it? Are you bringing it in now? It has been in on getting a qualification for guiding. Right, yeah. So in the last 18 months, I took a good look at the whole portfolio of training courses and assessments that GAIA offered. And it was recognised that some people don't want to be coaches. However, they've still got a lot to offer the angling community. You see them occasionally on social media. Hey, come for a day's guiding with me. Come and do this with me. Come and do that with me. And it's really good. You and I both know people that if there was a pool of water in the middle of a cow field, they'd cast a fly in, they'd catch a fish. But not necessarily have any technical qualifications to enable them to do that. So I recognise that, primarily GAIA's role, and it's in the title, Game Angling Instructors Association, not Fly Casting Instructors Association. The clue is in the name. We cast a fly to catch fish, i.e. we go angling. So has that actually started? Yeah. So I started off by rewriting the GAIA portfolio, which gives you guidelines on how to conduct yourself, what health and safety aspects you need to consider, risk assessments, questions to ask, basically an operating manual or a business plan, really.
Do you offer an insurance then, if somebody is qualified with you as a guide, or you just advise them?
No. So I'll go through the process. So if people join the association, then they can choose various routes. They can do the guide route, they can do the casting route, or they can do the fly dressing route, or they can do them all if they want. In the guide category, we've got river trout and grayling. We've got sea trout, salmon, predator, saltwater, and I'm working with Christopher Faulkner, who's the chairman, I think, of the Grafham Water Fly Fishers Association, on a stillwater syllabus to enable people who are successful at catching fish on still waters, whether it's bank or boat, can be equipped and learn the skills necessary for them to operate as a guide safely and ensure...
Is this UK and Ireland?
Yeah. UK and Ireland. Ireland is slightly separate because of the Irish Sea. But last September I was over on the Blackwater with the Game Angling Instructors Association regional organiser, Kevin Sheridan. There were a number of other members and we were discussing the role of guides, how it could be implemented in Ireland, how we could fit it in with... you know, there's various national governing bodies. Here in Wales, it's Federation of Welsh Anglers. In England, it's the Angling Trust. In Scotland, it's someone else. And in Ireland, it's someone else. And, you know, each region has its standards. So if we can meet those standards, exceed those standards on completion of their training and assessment, we present an award, and in the guides case, it's an accredited guides award. And then as a result, they become a full member of the association, and then they get insurance, 5 million public liability, I think, currently. So
what costs are involved then if you wanted to get qualified?
Well, initially, they'd have to join the organisation as an associate member, which is £75 or the euro equivalent. And then the process after that is they undergo training. They can seek their own training if they want. They can self-evaluate, or they can go and see a qualified mentor or an accredited mentor who will facilitate their learning. Those costs are individual to whatever those two people decide. And then the cost for an assessment is £350. And once they pass that, certificate, badge, registered on the website, advertised, and more importantly, insurance, telling people, if you want a guide, this guy has been accredited and tested to this standard, we would recommend him.
So when you're qualified then, is it just a case of paying your membership every year?
Yeah, annually then after that, you pay £100 currently, and you're fully covered by insurance. You can dip into all of the events GAIA run, enter the regional events, dip into any activity that you want, basically, and any resource that GAIA have, whether that's how do I do this, how do I make this cast, how do I go about gaining this qualification, or what training do I need. And more importantly, we also, as a qualified coach or guide, we do have certain discounts with a number of fishing tackle suppliers, manufacturers, where it's in their interest that we use their gear because we see so many people. So that's effective advertising. But it also helps us because we put that tackle in people's hands, it gets trashed. So we're not spending too much money constantly renewing our own personal gear.
So all this information we just mentioned now about the qualifications can be found on the website?
Yeah. On the website, gameanglinginstructors.co.uk, and on social media.
So even people in Ireland who are interested in getting involved with it, you still go to the .co.uk website?
Yeah, we haven't got a separate one. Like I say, the only difference is the Irish Sea. That's what separates us, unfortunately. But if people are interested, or if people in Ireland are interested, then all they need to do is contact Kevin Sheridan. He's been a guest of the show previously, hasn't he?
I fished him a few times.
Yeah, he fishes Lough Corrib, and he's
Lough Corrib.
Yeah, he's got a presence on Facebook. So, and more to the point, having just come back from British Fly Fair, we had leaflets and posters. By far the most interest shown in these new guide syllabuses. It's not about casting, it's about how you approach fishing, how you approach health and safety with clients, what you provide, what you give them, what you do to prevent.
The insurance is a big thing.
Oh, it is, it's massive.
I know of an angler, it's quite a well-known angler on Corrib, who takes people out, and I didn't think, most of them don't actually have any insurance, I know that for sure. But he took this one guy out one day, American, and the Americans are into, like, you know, claiming, aren't they?
Where there's blame, there's a claim.
Even if they're friends, they do, I've heard.
Yep.
And he came in, and he got up. When he got out of the boat, he slipped and fell. Not up in the lake, well, in a foot of water, and he sued him.
Really?
A lot of money. He almost finished him.
Yeah, I bet it did.
So it's something you have to think of these days.
Yeah. Well, all of those steps, like I said, do a risk assessment, do a safety brief with your client, get them to answer some questions. You know, are you fit, able and well? Do you suffer from any condition that I need to be aware of? Can you swim?
Yeah.
You know, simple things like that. And then
there's a there's a rawness in Ireland, and it's very organic, you can say, and people love that. There's like an innocence about it. You're just going out, but I think in these days you've got to cover yourself more than anything, you know.
Yeah, and
something I look into anyway.
Yeah, well, and those guide syllabuses, they're not about casting. They're all about fishing. There's a disclaimer on there saying this is not a casting qualification. This is an angling qualification.
Yeah.
And that goes back to the original point I made. We both know many people who are great anglers and they catch lots of fish.
Maybe you want to do a special Irish one where you got to have a course on how to use the kettle.
Well, yeah. And steak and onions on the island,
Yeah, that's something definitely you have to get on there.
If you're enjoying this podcast and want to listen to more, please consider becoming a patron, where you will get weekly episodes and access to over 200 episodes and exclusive content. Visit patreon.com/casting with Kelly Jones. Plus this year I am guiding full-time on Lough Corrib in Ireland. To book a day, visit my website, lougcorrib.com.
Amongst all the flytying materials you got here, you got like a few hundred books as well, which is fascinating to see. But I've noticed you got a sign lit up there on air. Well, it's off at the moment now, but you put it on when you're recording.
Yeah, I do. So let me
And that's for Shan, not to disturb it.
That's right, yeah. That's for the wife, because she's always, oh, who are you talking to? Oh, I didn't realise you were filming.
Like, I know for a number of years you've been thinking about doing a YouTube channel for tying, and you've dipped in, dipped out, and then, but last year, around about 12 months ago, more now, was it?
Yeah, it was.
You decided to go all out. You got some nice gear, lighting, audio. You got 2 monitors here, and you got the editing suite, and you actually finally did it. And you got a routine and a path. I know you're taking a break now, but it was all trout flies you were doing, wasn't it?
Yeah. So on.
Are you going back into it?
Yeah. I will do, and I'll if I give you a rundown on the what's occurred since why I decided to start it and what's occurred since. So the original reason was I support a number of fly tying groups, and one of the groups run by Nigel Haynes for the Ogmore Angling Association in Bridgend had a number of youngsters. So those youngsters, we took them fishing with the flies that they tied at the fly dressing nights, and then all of a sudden they decided that they wanted to trial for the Welsh youth team. So they all managed to get into the Welsh youth team, and then they said, what do I know about Lake of Menteith? And I said, oh, I know a bit about the Lake of Menteith. I know other people who have fished at Lake Menteith. What flies do we need? And as ever, the flies that they wanted. I said, I'll tie some for you. However, because I took on those roles with the Game Angling Instructors Association, it prevented me from going down as many times as I could. So as a result, I said, look, if you just tied, I'm starting a YouTube channel, tie the flies I tie on the YouTube channel, they'll stand you in good stead for Lake of Menteith.
How did they do that?
I think they came third,
Right.
which was better than the wooden spoon that they had previously. So
So the tie-in then, the videos, led up to that, and
Yeah.
then you paused then.
well, then I paused because what with the GAIA portfolio, which is the business plan, I suppose, the guide syllabuses, the single-handed syllabus and new two-handed syllabus, it took up all of my time. Still tied flies, but
Yeah.
you know, I'm from doing the podcasts, acquiring the data is fine, but editing it can take some time.
Oh yeah, each podcast takes a full day. When I mean a full day, maybe start 9-10 in the morning, and it'll lead me up to 9 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
Bit of a perfectionist. I like the sound to be right, everything to be right. And to be honest, it's quite funny really, because the audio, it needs to be spot on. And I listen to it through my headphones and I'm editing it, and it's like beautiful. But the funny thing is, I would say 99% of people who just listen to the podcast just use it on their phone, and it's
Yeah.
lost.
Yeah.
So
That
if
quality.
anyone who's listening to this now, stick your headphones on. It does make a difference, you know.
So now I'm coming to an end of some of these changes. Obviously, I'm going to return to the YouTube channel because people have asked me about certain sea trout flies I use, certain salmon flies I use. I'm always...
I think you would do well if you did sea trout selections,
Yeah.
because there are numerous people doing tie-in videos of trout flies, still water scene flies anyway, and salmon. But as far as I can see, there's some people will tie some sea trout flies, but I think if you did a whole series on sea trout, I think you'd get a niche market there, corner it.
Well, I'm hoping to do one sea trout from top to bottom, from surface lures, daytime flies, right down to the late or the wee hours in darkness when nothing appears to be happening, to do that. And it may take 6 or 7 weeks of tying and filming and editing before it comes to fruition. But, you know, the commitments that I've had are moving away, albeit I'm running the London Marathon at the end of April.
Are you?
Yeah. So
You've done that before?
No.
Half marathons you've done before?
Yeah. Half marathons. So for the last 4 or 5 years, Sean and I put in for the ballot and never been successful. Well, a friend of ours who runs a local business, he does a lot for charity, and he has several spaces for the London Marathon every year. They're charity places, but we've got to raise £2,000 each or thereabouts. But we've both got charity places this year. We're running for Children with Cancer UK. I've done marathons previously. This will be the wife's first. It's on her bucket list, so you could say.
So you're saying that you won't be doing any tying videos?
Yeah, well, not as many, but I need a concerted plan to.
Yeah. When will you start for Sea Trout?
Right. So, start my season now. We've had a massive amount of rain, haven't we? You know, it hasn't stopped raining since middle of last October, I suppose. Hopefully that'll be coming to an end. The rivers open March the 3rd. Well, when I say the rivers, the Esk and Taff open March the 3rd. So the Esk doesn't have very many sea trout, and there won't be very many about. So I'll probably hit the brown trout for the first couple of weeks in March. I'll have a couple of days on still water into April. Then I'll start moving down to the Towie, where April and May, there's usually a good run of salmon. And that can continue into June. Running with the early season salmon are generally double-figure sea trout.
Big sea trout, yeah.
So by going down in the daytime, I can see how much the river has changed. I can check wading lies. I can get visual cues from fish travelling or people hooking fish, gathering the intelligence. But it'll probably be June, first weeks of June, before I start going out, because by then smaller fish will start to appear, and when smaller fish appear, more fish appear.
So you won't necessarily fish in the early parts, say the end of April, May, when the salmon are about, for the sea trouts. Even though there'll be few, but they'll be bigger, you just would rather wait.
Yeah. Well, people say, "Oh, look at that sea trout fly," or "Look at that salmon fly." The fish don't know. The fish don't care. And one of your previous guests, John Graham, rest his soul, his favourite daytime sea trout fly was the scrub.
Yeah.
And he said, use that during the day. That's the best daytime sea trout fly that you can use. The fish don't know that it's a salmon fly. All they see is something moving. Yeah. So, but if you're on the water, you're constantly gathering intelligence. Early season, night is longer. You can fish maybe 7 o'clock in the night at early season. But really, that nighttime fishing isn't for the higher water. It's for when the water is low and the flows are slow.
Yeah. Oh, right. Yeah.
That's
so early season nighttime fishing isn't really successful.
No, all I describe early season night fishing is a bit like spring salmon fishing. You'll fish known lies. You'll fish where routinely or previously last year there were fish there, and you'll fish those. If there's a fish in residence, you might get a take. If you get a take, it'll probably be the only one for that night because there's so few fish about.
For those people who haven't yet listened to John Graham's podcast, I urge them to listen to him because they're actually gold, aren't they?
Yeah, they are.
The knowledge, and he's so funny as well. And,
Yeah.
and then when I went there, something which I plan to do, I've moved into this house now in Ireland, but one of the things, when I kit it out, I've got a frame ready, a large, it's like a coppery colour frame. It's a lovely frame. And I'm going to put some of his flies in there, because when I was there,
Yeah.
I don't know if I mentioned this on another podcast, or just happened to I talked to you about it. He was giving me flies. This is the fly. This is the fly. So when he was talking, he was giving me the flies.
Yeah.
And I had, before I left, on the table, well, it was on top of the fly box, it was 20 flies.
Yeah.
And then he was telling his wife then, get me something to put them in, he said, right? And she couldn't find nothing. And then he actually used her glasses case then, took the glasses out, stuffed his glasses case with these flies. Oh my God, and I still got them, obviously, but I'm going to put them in a nice frame, and not only just a traditional sort of white background and typed letters, I'm going to have it, because it's a nighttime sea trout feel I want in it, I'm going to put it on a black board.
Lovely.
With silver writing.
Yeah.
And put these mounted flies there. And in the middle, I'm going to put his photograph, which I took.
Yep.
And a quote he had, and I can't remember the top of my head now, but the quotes on the one podcast, he said he was describing the perfect night as a gypsy night. And he's saying there's like a galleon going across the moon. He says, the wind is blowing, and he's yee, and he's the voice and the sound he was trying to put that in it as well. And I will, as soon as I get it done, I'm going to put it up to show people.
Yeah.
But it's nice to do something different like that. He is a gem, a proper legend, and somebody you can listen to for hours and hours.
Yeah, well, he has a lot of experience. Now, experience is, some people think the longer you've been doing something, the more experience you have. But I've met many people who have learned one or two things in year one. They may have been fishing for 40 years, but for the 39 other years that they've been fishing, all they've repeated is year one. They never learn anything.
They don't move on, do they?
Right. So, and John Graham was a great observationalist. Oh, I wonder about this. I wonder about that. That's where he, is Jumbo, and I can...
The Jumbo, yeah.
There's one that I've got.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not really designed to... everybody thinks a surface lure sits on the surface and skims across. It doesn't. It's designed to push water, much like a top dropper.
Yeah.
Even
in the wake.
When you're on the loch, you're pulling that and you're creating that wake with the fly pushing the water. As soon as it pops out, the fish not interested.
Yeah.
But while it's there trying to break that surface film, gulp.
Yeah.
But
there's something nice about looking into a sea trout angler's fly box. And they do change from over the years. Like another great friend of ours, and unbelievable sea trout angler, Rob Redman.
Yeah.
Some of the patterns he ties, they're like, if you use a fish, you just have to take it. They've got that life in them, haven't they?
They're ethereal.
Yeah.
Would be a good word, I suppose. Yeah. Ethereal.
Yeah. I think in Wales we've got our own breed of sea trout anglers.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, you talked about all the materials I've got and what have you. Am I tying standard patterns or my own patterns? For the sea trout, you can find some that revert to their earlier state, and they'll take dry flies or they'll take nymphs. I mean, I did think I said in one of the last podcasts, people have been using squirmy worms, and they've been taking fish. So they're not discerning fish, if you understand. But when I tie a fly, I tie it for a time and a place. So I'll tie the same pattern in a size 10 or a size 2. It won't matter. But when I throw it in the water, I know whether it's fishing right. If I think it's coming round too slow, I'll put on a smaller pattern. So we'll get the perception that it's coming around faster. If it's coming around too fast, I'll put on a larger pattern. Then I'll work my way through the layers until I find that's fishing right. We get the tug.
Yeah.
You know?
One fly which you came up with some time ago now, and I'm not sure if we mentioned this before, how you actually come up with it, was the American Express. How was it that come about then?
None of the rivers in Wales are deep. You know, people say, oh, it's about 6 or 8 foot deep out there. In comparison with some of the Scottish rivers where they got pools 30 or 40 foot deep, we don't fish deep rivers. In summer, when the conditions change, you know, the lack of rain, more sunshine, warmer weather, those river levels diminish even further. So what we're left with is shallow water. And it may be 1 foot, 2 foot, 3 foot even deep, but it's still relatively shallow. If we introduce a noisy fly into that water, it's tantamount to a predator entering the water, and what the fish want to do is preserve themselves, and they'll just scatter. So on one particular night, I was fishing with 2 of my favourite flies, an Alexandra on the point, the Connemara black on the dropper, and because I like my flies tied slimly, I was fishing in a pool tail where a shoal of fish had come in. What would happen is when I flicked them out, they would land softly, they would enter the water and create hardly any disturbance, and that's where the difference comes with noisy and quiet flies.
Yeah.
So instead of me scaring the fish, all of a sudden my flies were in amongst them as if they should naturally be there. And that then triggered the behaviour of the fish going, oh, what's that? I'll have it. Over several fish landing, and fresh fish generally have sharp teeth, all I was left with on the Alexandra was the green wing and...
the silver body?
No, the silver body was just black silk. But on the Connemara black, I'd lost the wing, I'd lost the tail, all that was left was the black and silver body. So I put the red throw tackle and the Alexandra peacock sword wing with a black and silver body, and that's how the American Express. So instead of me having to tie Connemara black and an Alexandra, I just merged
the Connemara Zandra.
It's not quite as catchy as the American Express, but I see the Connemara Zandra. Yeah.
Don't leave home without it, innit?
No, so that's simple. But I mean, essentially, that was tied for a time and a place, and the time and the place was low, shallow water pool tails.
Something you haven't touched on, you've got your fly time materials and your monitors for your filming and that, but I see you've got lots and lots of books here. I guess you use them for reference a lot, don't you?
Yeah, the reference always...
I've got a couple of them, actually.
Yeah.
Some of the ones I've seen.
Well,
that's one that's on my list.
Is it?
I've read it so many times,
yeah,
but I've never got a copy myself. A Man May Fish, Kingsmill Moor.
Well, you can take that with you if you want. To keep.
No.
Because I've got another copy here somewhere. That was a working copy.
Are you sure?
Yeah. You can take that with you. Yeah, I'm very eclectic when it comes to books. If they catch my interest, then I'm a sucker for a purchase. And the reason is that I don't think people fully appreciate underpinning knowledge nowadays. And when I say underpinning knowledge, people come up with a fly and they go, oh, this is the latest fly. But when you look at it, you see elements of a salmon fly or an old trout fly, or it may be new to them, but a thing an angler should be is skilled at fly casting, tie their own flies, a good naturalist, and they should be well read. And I mean, many of the guys that have written these books have written them for a purpose. They're trying to tell their story their experience. You know, we've all experienced angling. Everybody's different, but if you can look at these and appreciate the angles that some of these authors are coming from with regard to some of the topics they're discussing, and appreciate that only widens or broadens your angling knowledge and gives you more options.
Yeah.
And that's why I have them. I mean,
There's a couple which stand out here now. I can see you've got trout fly recognition.
Yeah. John Goddard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You've got the two Hugh Focus ones, salmon fishing and sea trout fishing.
Yeah.
There's you got the complete angler, but it's not the original copy.
No. No.
There's one missing here. Sea Trout Fishing by Alun Rees.
Well,
You should do it.
that may be on the cards. Look, that may be on the cards.
Well, something which I can see you've got here is the collection of the Flyfishing Journal, which
Yeah.
you actually put quite a few features in there for me as well, didn't you, at the time?
Yeah.
So maybe in time you'd like to get a book of yours up there.
Certainly. What I need is a good photographer, and I
don't know.
understand. You
Don't know anyone.
You don't know anyone, do you? No. There you go.
No, but that'd be something I would enjoy doing.
Yeah.
Like doing photography
Yeah.
for your book.
Yeah.
But,
Or we'll get somewhere. I'll outline the plan, even if it takes 18 months, 2 years.
well, I've enjoyed the chat.
Likewise.
What I need to do is get some photographs of what you've been talking about
Yeah.
and to show the patrons. And I hope to catch up with you soon. And I hope you have a good season.
Excellent. I'm glad you popped in on your short trip from Ireland. Match is shortly starting, so we'll have to get that on the go. All right?
Cheers, Alan.
Thanks, Ceri. Much appreciated.
If you've enjoyed this podcast and want to listen to more, please consider becoming a Patreon. We will get weekly podcasts and access to over 200 episodes, behind the scenes photography to go with each episode, plus other exclusive content and prizes. To become a Patreon, visit patreon.com/casting with Ceri Jones, or you can find the link on my website, castingwithcerijones.com. That's all for now. Tight lines, and may they always be up in the wave.